In the world of WWE, we have seen superstars come out of nowhere, become the hottest ticket in pro wrestling, and eventually go on to bigger and better things. Most notably, I would say, is Daniel Bryan with the whole Yes movement and getting his moment at WrestleMania when he made Batista tap. Most recently, I would say we saw it last year with LA Knight. Now, while we're still waiting for LA Knight to get his big moment in the spotlight, he remains to be incredibly over and still uber popular with the WWE audience. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a superstar that is quite possibly the most over superstar in WWE and is up there in terms of pro wrestling in general. No, I'm not talking about Joe Hendry. I'm talking about Jey Uso. Because I would say right now we are in the midst of Jey Uso's hottest run on WWE TV. We're talking about a guy who went from just going like this to a bunch of people and getting nothing in return to what we got at Backlash in France with everybody going like this. This is also a man who has managed to resurrect a meme from 2014 in Yeet. And we got a glimpse in Toronto of just how over he really is when on the pre-show and the post-show, everybody was saying yeet, yeet. You want to tack on his entrances being what they are and coming through the crowd without security, which feels so different to what the Shield did, who also came through the crowd, because Jey does it in a way that allows him to be more interactive with the crowd. And after Money in the Bank, and we saw Drew McIntyre win, Jey Uso not winning, everybody is kind of raising the question, is WWE failing Jey Uso? And I don't think the answer is as obvious as you would think. When I saw that Drew McIntyre won and Jey Uso didn't, that would lead me to assume that WWE has bigger plans for Jey Uso, and ultimately I think we see him reunite with Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, possibly Sami Zayn in the OG Bloodline as they inevitably get ready to take on the Bloodline 2.0. That to me is the only logical thing that WWE can do with Jey Uso now that he did not win at Money in the Bank. And this just goes to show why I call Drew winning a waste, because instead of getting Jey Uso chasing a championship with the briefcase, which would have been incredible, he was the poster boy for the PLE. Everybody thought he was going to win. WWE pulled a fast one on us, and they had Drew McIntyre win. And typically when this happens, you get a lot of people online saying, oh, I can't believe they're burying X, Y, and Z. I don't think they're burying Jey Uso. However, I don't think they're using him to his full potential. Again, we're seeing Jey Uso really come into his own as a singles competitor. This is something that we have not seen before. You can argue that he was incredibly over as a tag team, but we've never seen him do it by himself. And he has managed to do it on his own. So for me, I wouldn't necessarily say they're burying him. I just don't think they're using him properly and getting the most out of what is a magical run right now that he's having. Now, I can speak a little bit to this because I went to Payback last year, and that was right around the time where LA Knight was at his peak, maybe coming off a little bit, but still incredibly over. And he got the loudest pop of that show. And we're starting to see the same thing with Jey Uso, and he's starting to get the loudest pop of the night, but LA Knight is still right behind him. If WWE wanted to strike when the iron is hot with Jey Uso, they've had their opportunities. Let's not forget, Jey Uso had a match for the IC title against Gunther, and he also faced Gunther for a spot at King of the Ring. Both of those he ultimately lost in. We've seen him get a match with Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship at Backlash, which, again, we talked about the incredible entrance that he had, and he still went on to lose. That just tells me that WWE either does not see him as a big name champion, or they have something else in the works and they're just waiting for the right time to strike. And in my last video, when we talked about John Cena's retirement, I mentioned that I have full faith in Triple H at this point, and I have no doubt that they'll inevitably get the right call when it comes to Jey Uso. And who's to say that if he does go on and get back involved with the bloodline, and if he does get involved in this new bloodline story, who's to say that after the fact he can't go on and get a championship opportunity? Considering how over and how popular LA Knight was last year, he still hasn't gotten a title yet. Now we're starting to see LA Knight feud for over the US title with Logan Paul, so maybe he gets his shot here. So while I think the WWE will inevitably make the right call when it comes to Jey Uso, I don't think it'll be right away. Because again, if they were going to, they would have done it by now. They have had opportunity after opportunity to do it. The matches against Gunther, the match against Damian Priest, the Money in the Bank match, him not winning that, I think, was kind of the moment for me where I realized, okay, they either don't see him as a strong champion or they have something else planned for him. And that's why I think he inevitably will get involved in this bloodline storyline again. And when Roman Reigns makes his inevitable return, maybe he joins back up with him and possibly Jimmy Uso. So this is where I obviously want to hear from you guys. Do you think they're using Jey Uso properly right now? Do you think they're hurting him? Do you think they're burying him? Or do you think that they do have something bigger planned for him, and that being the bloodline storyline again? Because seeing a superstar this over and this uber popular with the WWE crowd, it just feels like they're missing their opportunity with him. But we have learned from the past that the longer you wait, the more satisfying the result is. We saw it with Sami Zayn when he turned on Roman Reigns in the bloodline and how long they dragged that story out. So maybe they are currently just building up the story for Jey Uso to inevitably get his moment. It just comes down to when is that moment going to be. So that's going to do it for this video here. If it's not my traditional video, I apologize, but this was just something that I kind of came up with on the spot, and I really didn't take a whole lot of time to prepare. This was just me talking about what I feel. But nonetheless, I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, click the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. As always, down below in the description is our Linktree link. There you can find all of our social media pages. I highly suggest going and checking out our X page. Over on X, we do updates on every Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and all of the PLEs. And ultimately, I want that to be a place for wrestling fans to go and talk about wrestling if they're like me and they don't have a lot of people to talk to about wrestling. So if that does apply to you, I highly suggest going to check it out. So again, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more videos coming in the future. We'll see you next time.